Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Two Legs. This is episode number 237. My name is Andy Nichols, and I am joined by my partner in crime, my co-host and co-founder of Two Legs, Tom Hunyadi, and joining us today is the other co-founder of Two Legs, Mr. David Gargalino. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, all of a sudden we can't get rid of this guy. You know, he left me cold in the rain, just flat out, just kicked me to the curb.
I have to start paying this guy now. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm tripping the live with you guys now. It's fun. Thank you.
No. Welcome back, David.
I know I'm a familiar face in the last 4 months, so sorry I'm overwhelming myself.
No, it's good. We're glad to have him back, and your insight to our show and keeping us in the loop is very welcomed, and we rely on it, to be honest with you. So, we love it. So I'm glad that you're still willing to pitch in and help us out and keep us in the loop with everything that's going on in the world of McCartney. Today, obviously, is when we're recording this, we're about a week out from the fest. Yeah. This is going to drop on the fest, but we are recording a show about the recently released Underdubbed 50th anniversary issue of Bend on the Run, which also includes the Half-Speed Master, and we all have our copies as well. Mine above my shoulder over there, as you see. We all got them.
Yeah. So I see we all went in for the double LP.
Absolutely.
So are we gonna go back and get the single just so we can have the OB strip?
No,
you guys can. You guys are the collectors.
I'm not gonna do that. Tom will.
I probably.
Tom is going to. I know you will.
Complete that collection of the
OB
strip.
Not having the OB strip.
Ugh. I mean, once you get to like 20 bands on the run, I mean, what's one more? I mean, come on.
No, you can't. Now, wouldn't it have been nice if the OB strip was on this box too? Then we would have been set.
Oh. That we would have set because I mean there was the OB on the Flowers in the Dirt LP set, I believe, if I remember correctly.
The archive?
Yeah, the archive. Yeah, that did have an OB strip, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
But this is. I mean, we're all burnt out on this album, right? But for some reason, it got us. This release kind of got us excited for the release, didn't it?
It did. It harkens back to, as we just mentioned just a couple seconds ago before we started, back to the kicking off the archive campaign.
Yeah.
And back in 2010. But now I think we all agree that this is the extra audio we should have gotten on that release.
These are the rough mixes that should have been part of the at least a 2010 set.
Well, listen, we got rough mixes of Wildlife on the Wildlife archive. Why couldn't it's the same concept? And were the underdub mixes already in the can? He just didn't, release them, or they stripped them down now.
Well, the mixes are from Jeff Emmerich in October of 73,
which the note says on the back of the
October of 73.
They were for Visconti's reference, so like you could have put on the 25th anniversary or the 2010 archive.
2010,
yeah.
I mean, so. It's flogging a dead horse. We all bought the double. We bought the slipcase cover vinyl and the 2 CD. Of course we did.
Yes.
Interesting to note, I did not actually pick up on this, that in the UK the spine reads Paul McCartney, but in America it says Paul McCartney and Wings. Look at it. See it?
Not on these. Not on this. No.
Oh, it just says Band on the Run.
No.
This side.
The album.
Yeah, it just says Paul McCartney. Band on the...
It just says Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Now, that's a reproduction of the American album with Hell on Wheels, but go look at your copies of go look at an original copy of Band on the Run. It says Paul McCartney and Wings.
Wings, yes.
Well, my Amazon Music calls it Paul McCartney and Wings. It's in a separate folder than Paul McCartney, so...
Right. So
interesting.
I'd be curious to look if somebody can tell us in the comments below if you have a UK pressing of Band on the Run from any year really. Does it say Paul McCartney or does it say Paul McCartney and Wings? I remember it saying Paul McCartney and Wings here in America, not just Paul McCartney. To see that on the spine is very interesting.
I'd have to check my original U.S. version.
It says in Wings. I just looked this afternoon before we started. Okay. All the American ones say N Wings, just like Red Rose Speedway, Paul McCartney and Wings. So,
right,
interesting how that was being billed. But So we all said we listened to the Underdubbed. Did you guys actually did you listen to the half-speed master of the actual album yet, Tom?
Yes, I did, and I gotta tell you, that needle drops, and you could hear a pin drop. I mean, it's the quietest, perfect, master or pressing of this album that I've heard yet. I mean, and let me tell you, that Columbia half speed master from the 80s, I mean, that's a great sounding record too.
Yep.
But this is just fantastic. I mean, I was just blown away by the sonics of this record. I mean, it just made me appreciate, this album a little bit more. I mean, not that I don't appreciate it already, but just listening to this album at the half speed master. And all of them have sounded great.
They've all been, and I think that's the one thing all these half-speed masters have in common is that they're so quiet. They're so quiet. Yes. You can't even. It's almost like you can't even hear the needle playing on it, right?
And oddly enough, yeah, I mean, this was worked on in February of last year. February of 23. There's no reason why.
A year ago.
This couldn't have been dropped in December. Closer to its original release date. So
yeah, the Underdubbed stuff was cut in March of last year, so it could have been a spring release, summer.
So if this was done in February, I'm wondering when the idea to release the third anniversary of McCartney 3, came into the picture. Because there was no reason, and we all bitch about, what we want. We all know what we want. We all want the Back to the Egg and the London Town sets, right? But we got this. We got McCartney 3. Move on with your life if you're not happy with it. Anyways, but that being said, when did that come to the picture to where it had to bump this out?
It had to bump this out. Well, right. It's the newer album. It's another multicolored thing. There's something about these half-speed releases with McCartney's camp. He doesn't release them with a whole lot of flair, like these McCartney. Like they're just quietly released. There's not the social media isn't flooded with.
I don't know. I think this one has been I think this one has a little bit more.
This one does have a little bit more. He's posted some stories on his pages about, but this one maybe because it's Band on the Run.
Yeah, it's his most marketable album.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably his most pressed album as well. I mean, most released album.
Well, I mean, there's probably 100 copies between all three of us, right?
Maybe.
CD and vinyl and tape and everything else. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So last year, these Underdubbed mixes were auctioned. At least the Jeff Emmerich rough mixes were auctioned last year.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know if that played into it. I mean, they were already working on it early last year. I don't know if there was even a conflict to even consider, but it's interesting. Maybe those were tape copy masters that got sent out, for auction, and I don't know. But it was kind of a coincidence that went up to auction.
And now we have so you tell me that Paul didn't have them. They went up for auction. He got them and then said, "Okay, we'll put them out."
Well, I don't know if he bought them. Maybe there's a copy,
Right, but it's also important to note that on the back it also says that these were cut in March of 2023. So these have been done as well.
Again, now and then the red and blue stuff, the McCartney 3, third anniversary. Who knows? They definitely wanted to get the Beatle product out first. There's no doubt about that.
But would you figure the 50th anniversary of Band on the Run's a bigger achievement than the third anniversary of McCartney 3?
Yes, but not any Beatles product. Got to remember
you can't put this over the Beatles.
You can't,
releases, I guess.
But would it have overshadowed it?
I don't know, but then again, when you think about it, look back to 18, right, where we had
Red Rose.
We had Red Rose,
Egypt
Wildlife,
Station.
Station. Right, we had 4 months of solid important releases.
Then you got the Travelers.
That's a long time ago now, though.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, 5 years.
6. So.
But anyways, it's
But we're here. We have it now. It's just it kind of came quick, It got announced in December, and it's beginning in February now. I mean,
it did.
But have you noticed though, David, how things aren't shipping from Michigan anymore from McCartney.com? Where they
you idiots got it before I did.
I got it from the great folks at Sound of Vinyl, but they come out of Kentucky.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So you didn't get it. You didn't get it from McCartney.com, David.
No, but it's still a UMG affiliate.
Yeah.
So, so where are they shipping for the McCartney now?
I think in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom got his vinyl, what, Friday?
Saturday. I got mine Saturday.
David got his first.
Yeah.
When'd you get it? Thursday? Friday?
Friday.
Right.
So direct to consumer on day of release.
That's
me is
pretty
unheard
nice.
of.
This miserable here in Jersey had to wait till today.
Right. And that's a big improvement from years past. From ordering from McCartney.com.
Yeah, because you wouldn't get it on release day. This is technically release day, and you'd get it when? Right. If you ordered McCartney.com, when would you get it? 3, 4, 5 days later?
When I was in Arizona, yeah. I mean, at least up to a week later.
Damn.
But also, going to being in Arizona, Mike at the In-Groove, he would get copies of these as well. So I would have been able, if I didn't order from, Amazon, PaulMcCartney.com, I could have easily just got it from the In-Groove.
Oh, yeah. Well, can you still order from him, Tom, and he'd ship it to you?
If I wanted to, yeah, but I don't need to.
Okay.
Another thing to point out, this is the first direct-to-consumer for the vinyl deluxe version. You could get the 2 CD on Amazon.
This is a good point, too. Yeah. I mean,
what do you mean,
the first time that he offered CDs as well for this.
The direct-to-consumer, you couldn't get through Amazon. You could only go through his store or the UMG sponsor.
Right, you couldn't get any halves. Right, you couldn't get any. Well, you can only still get the single disc on his website, though, right?
Correct. You could, yeah. But like the 2 vinyl, you couldn't get it outside his website or the UMG affiliates.
So what you're saying is the 2 LP is also being sold on Amazon?
No.
No.
Or is it just the CD?
Correct.
The CD is.
The 2-disc CD is being sold.
But we've never got a CD either released in the last with these anniversary things. There has not, because it's underdubbed, it's on CD.
You could still get the single half speed, I think, through Amazon, but not the 2 LP.
I don't think you could get the half speed on Amazon. I don't think you can.
From a second-hand seller, but it's going to be interesting to see if these underdubs or CD releases of this series continues with Venus and Mars.
I'm on Amazon right now. You can get the half speed on Amazon, $35.98. You can
double LP or just a single?
Just the single with the OBI.
There you go, Tom.
Looks like I'm going to be going on.
You're going to get it tomorrow.
$35.98. So you can, but that never was. Right. You never could before that. You're right, David.
Right. Well, it used to be Record Store Day, and then his website.
The Record Store Day release, right, which was Red Rose Speedway. We got that on Record Store Day release.
The McCartney.
Yep.
So again, most marketable album. He's going to make it available a little more on more form. It's his most. It's his easy, it's his most successful solo album, of course.
True.
Are we finally going to get rehearsals and outtakes in 2034?
I don't know.
2033.
Who knows what's in the vaults? I mean, from my understanding, there's plenty in there to be released.
It's just the one thing with all these damn releases. It's like, he could load these CDs up with so much content of extra stuff.
Right.
All of it. And he's like, here you go.
But you know what? We were excited to get these underdubs. And I think we're more excited than, getting the one hand clapping again, or getting the live from Glass, No Words live from the 79 tour.
Yeah.
I'll take these underdubs any day of the week over live stuff.
I just felt like they padded the bonus disc 14 years ago. It's like they couldn't find enough. This is where it would have backfilled it.
Yeah, I mean that band
on the Run. Let's have a quick look, shall we?
Was just a deluxe 25th anniversary set. If you
Well, here's the 2010 3 CD.
Yeah.
And the one the DVD. Well, actually, they threw the DVD in this one, which they didn't
That's
do
the
again.
Best Buy, right? The Best Buy.
Yeah, they didn't do the DVD in this one after this. So they threw the 25th anniversary bonus disc on this again.
Like, why'd you need it again?
Right, and then what was your bonus tracks on this? A couple of cookies, right? I mean, not much.
Well, you Helen Wheels, Zoo Gang would have been there.
Country
as well.
Dreamer, and then the one hand clapping stuff.
Country Dreamer, yeah.
And you know what though? But to have the one hand clapping stuff, some of it officially, that was pretty big. That was. But that
should have been its own release. You know what I mean? That should have been its own.
It's still not a complete DVD on one hand.
Right.
No.
The different regions had different songs, though.
Yeah. So here we are again with the 88th copy of Band on the Run, and we're still finding stuff in it that we enjoy. And here we have underdubbed mixes. I know some people saw that they were kind of unimpressed. I saw Mitch wasn't a big Mitch comment that he was kind of underwhelmed with the whole thing. We can go track by track through the
Yeah, let's go track by track.
Well, let's go track by track.
I can understand how people can be excited and underwhelmed.
Now, there are tracks, and I know we've all talked about which ones we think are the best. There are some that are wow, and some are like, okay, in terms of like what we're hearing. All right, Band on the Run, the underdub mix doesn't do a whole lot for me. Not a whole lot.
Except for the last third.
Yes.
The first 2/3, it sounds exactly the same. When you get to the final third, that's where you want to listen to the song. Yeah.
Correct.
And that was
where you got. Go ahead.
That was the only preview release for this campaign.
Right. Well, I thought Bluebird was also released as well.
Yeah, like a minute.
A snippet of Bluebird was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you get no orchestration here, right?
Yeah.
You get a different vocal. I believe it's a different vocal.
Yes.
Then you also don't get that extra added electric guitar throughout that last third.
No.
As well.
No, you don't.
So it's really, for me, that brings a tired song to me when you listen to it with new, fresh ears, and you appreciate what's missing. I think to me, you appreciate what's missing a little bit more.
Or do you discover what's been hidden?
Or what's been, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Some of these songs are like, damn, it would have been cool to hear that if we could have heard that. That part of it.
I remember when we got the Wings Wildlife, and then some people never know we got the rough mix of that.
Yes.
In the middle of that, you heard Denny Sywell play trumpet.
Yes.
Which was wiped out in the official release.
Right, and things like that. So the rough mixes, that's what you're hearing on these things, I think the one thing that we all like that we can take away are throughout all these tracks, are the little improvisations of the vocalizations, or he's humming or doing something, or there's a mistake. Those little imperfections are pretty cool.
Well, he's mimicking the guitar lick at the end.
Yes, yeah.
And I tried to play the original,
right?
And I'm not sure if it was buried, but you couldn't decipher that in this the official release.
Right.
No.
And even that vocal, mimicking that guitar, he knew what he wanted back even then, from a guitar solo. So that again is the genius of Paul.
Well, gems
what he wants and when and where he wants it.
Yep. Mamunia rough mix didn't do a whole lot for me.
This just reconfirmed that I still don't like this song.
Well, sorry to disagree on that one, but because I love Mamunia, but this one didn't. The rough mix to me didn't do a whole lot for me on this.
Yeah, I thought there was some differences, but I was going back and forth listening to it. But does it sound like a different vocal on this one, or does it sound like the same to you guys?
I'm listening to the song right now. I'm trying to decipher.
A little bit, not too much. Maybe a little more upfront. If anything, it was the vocals were a little bit more upfront here.
A little more drier.
Yeah, a little bit, but not much.
Was there much orchestration on the original one?
No.
Okay, so
no. It was just straight kind of an acoustic number with some synths at the end.
Right. Right.
It sounds maybe like that there's not as much. So I'm listening to right now. So like I hear single tracked vocals. I don't hear double tracked.
Okay. Right.
Like you never felt the rain, my friends, or you felt it running.
Right.
I hear single tracked vocals, not doubled. So obviously they stripped some of those vocals off of Mamonia. But again, it wasn't too discernible of a difference in this one for most of ours. And then
this one wasn't any revelation or anything like that. This is just again, even though I listened to it several times, it just didn't do anything for me.
Now one of all of our favorites next, No Words. How do we feel about No Words?
I love hearing the keyboard in the beginning, just very upfront.
Yeah. I think this is pop perfection. Especially the final version, but it was. I knew we weren't going to hear that orchestration, so I was like really excited just to hear that guitar as well, that opening guitar lick. without the orchestration as well. And,
Right.
And also with these two is you're hearing his bass loud and clear, and there's two. I mean, just phenomenal bass lines throughout these tracks as well. That sometimes you might not notice because of everything else.
All the other production and everything else thrown into it. Yeah.
Right.
But then I'm listening to the harmonies. The recently departed Denny Lane. I mean, that guy just brought so much harmonization to the group. And it's really showcased on this Underdubbed set.
It does, but again, vocals a little more upfront, and again without the orchestration. So I think No Words was wasn't the mega highlight of this set for me, but it's certainly up there because the song is just one of the best of all time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Yeah, this I was definitely looking forward. This is one of the tracks I was looking forward to the most on the Underdubbed.
Now,
absolutely.
The next one. The next track on here, Underdubbed, is one of the crown jewels of this entire effing release. And this is the underdubbed version of Jet. Go.
Right. Well, I mean, Howie Casey, right? We're not getting any Howie Casey sax, right? And then the boots, there's no Moog synth from Linda.
Nope.
Which is like you're expecting, right? What?
There is when he's about to sing the verse. When you hear the
yeah, but you don't hear the
solo. Well, he means the solo. He means the solo.
Yeah.
The
there is
solo
synth on it.
I meant, yeah. You're not getting that synth that you're just expecting to hear. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Man, this is one of the best stripped down, underdubbed, whatever you want to call it, to hear McCartney at his fucking best. Oh my God.
Band on the Naked Run.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy crap, this is just so powerful without the orchestration.
And the vocals too.
Vocals.
Yeah.
Do you feel maybe he went too far with orchestration on some songs? Like, I mean, they're classic now.
Right.
Do you think he made the right choice?
No.
Like we'll get to the next track. Like the next track, I can't. I don't want to listen to it on a regular basis without Howie Casey. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was again probably one of the top 3 tracks on the Underdubbed for me.
It was, and then again, of course, at the end of the song, you get to hear him doing the, again, his vocal improvisations here in the, with the ending, with doing the horns,
Right.
Right. I mean, things like that, I live for those. To hear that, you heard him do it with Silly Love Songs on the Speed of Sound, like he'll do those parts of the horns on these early rough mixes or demos, and they're just so awesome to hear him do that. I know we're geeking out here, but it's like it's hearing something new, and we're like, oh my God, that's so cool. It is.
Yeah, agreed 100%.
Now
we should also say that the CD version, right, David? Like you pointed out when we were live, the last time we were live. I mean, you pointed out that the CD version is the 2010 mix.
Master.
Good point. You mean the standard album?
From the archive.
The
CD version is the 2010.
David? How'd you find that out?
It's on the credits.
It is.
It's in the credits.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's.
Disc 1 mixed by Jeff Emmerich, October 73, and then had a 2010 MPL Communications.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Yep.
Yeah.
2010. So they pulled the 2010 archive, which you would think that. I mean, where else? What other? Whatever version were they going to pull from? They were going to pull from the.
Yeah, and they weren't going to remix it since they're giving us a rough mix. I mean, that would have been too much.
No, it's hard to believe that was the first archive release now.
Well, the weird thing was, the 99 2-disc came out, and then you didn't have any McCartney Super Deluxe Edition or Deluxe Edition album until 2010. And you're like, oh, this album again?
Yes, that was the feeling. Like, okay, it's been 11 years.
Why don't you start with McCartney first?
Right. We're going to do Super Deluxe stuff. Things we've been waiting, at that point, we had been waiting,
11 years?
10, 15, good 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
And the first one we're going to get is Band on the Run. Okay. But then we got McCartney, and McCartney 2 is the next
The following
anyway.
year,
Yeah, anyway.
Right.
Not even a year.
No,
Band on the
June,
Run came out in November of 2010.
10.
McCartney and McCartney 2 came out in May or June.
June?
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
want to say June of 2011. So
Man, remember when they just came after every 6 months to a year?
Damn, that was
Well,
like
I was going to ask you guys. I mean, do you think if he goes in chronological order with his releases starting in
With
2010 with McCartney, do you think that there's no pauses? Do you think we got back to the egg in London Town, 4 or 5 years ago?
yes.
Oh, if he didn't pause.
If he was going to go chronologically,
20.
Yeah.
yeah, I do. Well,
Yeah.
let's recount it. Band on the Run, McCartney, McCartney 2, Ram,
Ram.
Wings Over
Over
America, Wings Over America, Venus and Mars,
Yeah.
Speed of Sound, Tug of War, and Pipes
Tug
of
of War,
Peace,
Pipes of Peace. Then
Flowers
in the Dirt.
Flowers in the Dirt, Flaming Pie.
Yeah.
That's it. Over a 10-year span. Interesting. I'm sure, like they were going to market his most successful albums, but bundling bundling them together was the best.
And they were good priced back then. The
$60
bundles. If that, yeah.
for the
Yeah,
deluxe
it
for the books.
Yeah.
$60 was like
So I remember
I mean,
2014 and 15 getting those back to. You got 4 albums in a year. That was
Right.
pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
but you got a number 2 album in London Town, right? That did 10 times better than Pipes of Peace, right? Did better than Wildlife, with a number 1 song and with a little luck.
Yeah, but Pipes of Peace has the star power of Michael Jackson on it.
True. Yeah, but a bitter friendship though. I mean, obviously Michael's not with us anymore, but yeah, say worldwide smash.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know it's maddening to think about how 2 classic Wings albums are just sitting there
Well,
Right.
isn't one in litigation or was in litigation?
I think that's over and done with. Maybe we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, we'll ask, he'll be there. We'll just ask him. Say, Steve, man, we met him a year ago. What's the deal with the archive Back to the Egg? Come on.
How many archives did Denoyer do the intro to? Was it just Band on the Run? Or was
Paul
there a couple
Denoyer-
other-
that. Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Denoyer,
Paul
I think.
Denoyer.
Yeah, Liverpool author, good guy.
Yeah.
Go get his book, Liverpool, Wondrous Place.
Conversations with McCartney.
Well, that's his McCartney book, but he wrote a book on
yeah,
Liverpool too.
right.
Good guy. I think he just did the first one, David. You're right.
Okay, because I know we interviewed him back in the day, Tom and I.
Yeah. Oh, it's so late for that one. I remember I was at my brother's house for I think it was one of my nephews or niece's birthdays, and I got home late, and I was just like going 100 miles an hour.
Was that a
trying to get
Skype?
home.
Was that a Skype
Yeah.
interview?
Yeah, that was a Skype. Yeah. that was
Oh
a Skype.
man.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. But go ahead. Where were we? Bluebird.
Next up, Bluebird, and you were talking just before we got off that little tangent about you don't want to hear the orchestration without Bluebird, Tom?
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Bluebird. Bluebird's not my favorite. I appreciate it. I like it. However, what I think improves it is Howard Casey's tenor sax.
Yeah.
On that song. So obviously, when you're hearing the underdub and you're expecting it, it definitely improves that song, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but for me, Howie's sax definitely improves that song on that song.
David?
It gives a vibe to it.
Yeah.
I'm still in the honeymoon phase of this novelty of this mix. So,
Yeah.
will it carry on as like the other mixes? The original releases? Probably not. But it's always nice to hear that alternative of it.
Yeah, I got it on the cans right now. I don't hear, other than the Howie Casey solo, it doesn't sound too different for me, for these ears.
Right. True.
So not, but again, like it but not love it. Tom, I'm in the same boat with you, 100%.
Yeah.
Track 6, Mrs. Vanderbilt. No R, by the way, people. with an E. Not no R.
However, as we learned in McCartney Legacy, it was Mrs. Vanderbilt.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Adrian and Alan.
However, before we get to that, I mean, how do you guys like that the track listing order is different than from the original order? Are you guys fine with that?
I like that it's different.
That's how it was. That's how it was mixed for the orchestration.
That's how it's mixed. Okay, right.
It's true to what it was. Prepared for.
It's nice,
so.
and I think that was another comment. I think that was when Mitch had a problem with that too. He didn't like that the running order didn't mimic the same as the album. I like it. It's different. Christ, we can recite that running order in our sleeps, backward and forwards. Band on the Run, Jet, Bluebird, Mrs. Vanderbilt, Let Me Roll It, Mammonia, No Words.
Helen Wheels.
Picasso's Last Words, 1985.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mrs. Vanderbilt. Good, but what's missing in this version?
Well, yeah, again,
we don't hear the sax.
We're missing more sax. We're missing more sax from Howie Casey. Yeah.
The sax, yeah, we're missing. Yeah, we're not hearing. But again,
I feel like, I feel like those backing vocals are a little bit more hey hoes, especially Linda. I think I hear Linda's more voice coming a little more loud and clear with that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what you guys think, but that's just me.
Without the orchestration, I mean, and the sax, to me, it's not too different. David, I don't know if you feel the same way.
I mirror everything you guys say on that song.
Now
I can still hear the saxophone in my head.
Right.
It's just not there.
Right.
Now, the next song is. This is another highlight I think we can all agree upon with the Underdubbed mix.
I mean, some people might find this a little controversial how it was presented to us. I don't, but yeah, I mean, this again, we talk about this. There's instrumentals on some of the John Lennon sets too, right?
Sure.
There's no vocals, right, whatsoever. So this was a kind of almost a way in a first for us just to get an instrumental track from Paul, from any of the archives too.
Right.
I don't think there was anything that was just
where we
that was supposed to have words,
and we didn't hear any vocals at all.
Right.
And of course, we're talking about the epic closer to the album, 1985, and no orchestration, no Paul vocal. It's just an instrumental. Right. And I think David.
To me, it's my favorite track on the album because I love the most. I love synthesizer, and you hear it prominent. I thought I was reading on the forums or in the world on the internet, like he may have redone his vocal, and maybe this was in between, or he was going to retrack it, and he didn't want it on the reference mixes. So I'd like to have heard the original vocal mix, but and then I also read it was originally supposed to be an instrumental. I don't know. I'm not sure what's true out there, but to me, I adore what Paul or Linda's playing on the synth, so that's really prominent in this mix.
And you got the organ too, when it goes ooh, and then that organ crashes in, boom. The oohs,
I can hear it right now. Yeah.
I mean, that is
without the vocals, without the vocals and the orchestration on this, I appreciate so much more of the piano bits, right? Paul's drumming. We know he loves playing drums, but is this the greatest drummer in the world? You hear this and you kind of wonder, okay, what would Denny Sywell have done differently?
Yeah.
Because he said the drumming would have been 10 times better.
Well, according to him, there's versions of this stuff with him on it.
Right, with him on drums, exactly. So,
for the 60th.
But but this track has one of my favorite Paul vocals of all of his songs. So it makes me appreciate what's going on in and musically, and it also makes me appreciate his vocals even more because they're not there.
Yeah, and let's not forget that the working title of this track, as we learned in McCartney Legacy, was just called Piano Thing. It was just called Piano Thing.
Maybe it was supposed to be an instrumental.
Maybe. It's got a very theatrical, and we've talked about this on our show. It's got a very theatrical film, cinematic quality to it.
Right.
And why it closes the album.
Right. And then we shouldn't be surprised that if it was indeed supposed to be an instrumental, we shouldn't be surprised by that, right? Because he's done instrumentals before. I mean, McCartney, the first album is loaded with instrumentals.
Sure. I mean, but I'm glad he sang on this song because it's, as you say, Tom, it's one of his best vocal performances ever. Turns him singing and then wailing and screaming at the end of it. I mean, really. I mean, and again, I know it's an old tired warhorse now in the live show,
right?
But I'm glad because he never played it live before the 12-12-12 concert or that tour or whatever. He never played it. It never was played live.
I think I saw on the 11 tour, on the Run tour.
He did it.
I think he brought it out around that time.
Yeah, so I mean, I know it's been played for a decade plus, but
Sure.
Let Me Roll has been being played since '76, so we'll take it. We'll take it.
Exactly.
But anyways, it also, I mean, it just proves that he's a capable guitarist as well. I mean, those lead guitar licks towards the end too are phenomenal. Some of his best guitar work.
Totally. So yeah, you're not getting. Some people might not like 5.5 minutes of an instrumental version of a 1985, but you hear a lot in here.
Yeah. You don't get the reprise either, which it just ends on a
exactly right. You don't get that, which again, you're just like, wait, okay, what happened? Where's the reprise?
Yeah, you're not going to get the coda reprise at all. Right. But again, something for everybody. Again, you like it? Listen, this could be, I play it once, I'm never going to play it again. I'm going to go back to these. I'm going to go to my favorites. I'm going to add these to like a playlist. The top three or four.
For sure.
They're going to be in the rotation for sure because they're new and they're impressive and they're engaging. Next track, Picasso's Last Words. Underdubbed. First take. Tom.
Well, I mean, again, you're missing. There's no orchestration in this. There's also what sounds like whatever, like a TV or radio spots, and in two parts of the song. That's missing. I mean, this song has never been a favorite of mine, but it is interesting to hear the earlier version of this track and to see then what was later added. But again, I mean, the song still doesn't do anything for me, whether it's underdubbed or overproduced.
You're not a fan.
Whatever. No, this has never been a favorite of mine. So this was, as we know, this was recorded at Ginger Baker's studio.
Yeah.
This was the only track that was recorded there after the mix-up of him thinking they were going to record the whole thing at his studio. But
oops, sorry, Ginge.
Yeah.
Peace and love, babe.
Yeah. But I mean, just because it's not a favorite of mine doesn't mean I won't listen to this again. It just doesn't do anything for me.
No. In an album context, I enjoy Picasso's Last Words because there's so many motifs from the album that are woven back into it.
Well, that's the whole that's the whole point of the track. I mean, especially that the Jet and the Mrs. Vanderbilt
Jet
section.
and Ho Hey Ho
it's Picasso. It's a Picasso. I mean, this is where Jeff Emmerich earned his Oscar. I mean, his
engineer.
What am I thinking? Grammy engineer. Yeah. This track, alone, I think won him that Grammy.
So
go ahead, David.
The last 45 minutes pulls, or 45 seconds of the song pulls the layers that you don't hear. They're singing Deo. It's credited in the new credits on the CD. I'm not sure if it's credited on.
No, I hear it now. I hear it.
Deo, they had to do the credits. I don't think it's on the vinyl sleeve. I think they caught it and had to put it in because now it's exposed.
Right.
I think it's always been there, but it's not so in your face. It's like now they're singing it. So you can hear Linda.
Yeah, that's a good observation. That's pretty cool. This is one where I actually prefer the strings and all that big production on it. Underdubbed, this doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Give me the full strings and the orchestration and the horns on Picasso's Last Words because it encapsulates as all the elements of the album as a concept album. Underdubbed, not so much. Now, the closer, and what I've read online, is a lot of people's favorite track on this whole thing.
Really?
I have read that in the last day or two. Some people have said, and of course we're talking about the underdub mix of Let Me Roll It. And I've never been a huge fan of the song because it's just been played live so many damn times. This underdubbed mix of Let Me Roll It is a ear opener, man. I played it like 3 times in a row the other night.
Was there a canary at 14 seconds?
Yeah. Is there more echo in this track, in this vocal to you guys?
Underdubbed or regular?
The underdubbed. Yeah. No, not this one. Let Me Roll It.
It sounds like it. It sounds like there's a little bit more.
Like there's more echo.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But then again, there's really nothing else different to my ears.
Really?
And you guys hearing anything? What are you guys
I'm hearing a lot of the organ really prominent.
The organ sounds more prominent. His vocals sound much more brighter and upfront.
Yeah, the vocals is the only difference that I hear. Like, and plus with more echo to it.
Right, because maybe on the official version it's kind of buried with a lot of stuff, but the vocal being so upfront and clear is what caught my ear right away with "Let Me Roll It," and I'm like, wow. Especially the last third of it. You know, I can't tell you how I feel. My heart is like, well, it sounds lyrics that we've heard thousands of times, but on this version, to me, it's clear as like he's singing right in front of my house.
The drumming's very Ringo Plastic Ono Band like on this.
Yes.
Well, I think that's another reason why people consider this, an ode to
Lennon, of course.
Yeah, Lennon. Yeah.
I on the surface, Tom, you're right. It's not too different than the original. There are just some subtle differences where the organ that's being kind of played back and forth, swaying, that's higher.
Right.
His vocal is clearer. So those two things, David likes keys in the synths. I do too. Right. So the combination of the synths being brought up and the vocal was enough for me to go, oh, I really dig this now. Like I would listen to this more than I would any other version of "Let Me Roll It."
Two prog guys liking synth and keys.
What a shock.
You went to Steve Hackett. I don't want to hear that shit. With me.
And happily.
Give me that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, even as something as simple as when you start the track, out of nowhere, in the left field, you hear this
canary sound of like...
Yeah, you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Just listen. When you've heard these songs as much as we have, and you hear something different, your ears are just gonna gravitate towards these sounds that are not pre-programmed in your brain to just know it. So you're gonna gravitate towards them, whether you like them or you don't. That's your choice. That's your choice. Yeah. But I'm very happy with the Underdubbed mix as a whole. The great tracks are phenomenal. The ones that are not so great, hey, whatever. And we got a half-speed master out of the whole thing to boot. So I'm very happy with the package. I think it works well. And several of these tracks are going to become my go-tos.
Yeah, no, I agree. No words. I'll keep listening to 1995. Even though it's an instrumental, I think it's one of the highlights. Jet. Obviously the last third of Band on the Run, all worthy of repeat listenings.
You make a good point, Tom, with Band on the Run, because when I first heard that track, I'm like, this is the same freaking thing. And then you get to the last third, and then it's where the payoff is there.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
The payoff is there.
That's the...
Yeah.
I was going to say something else, but I will...
It's a PG show. It's a PG show. PG-13.
Okay.
So, Tom, you're going to grab the half-speed master OBI strip on Amazon. I know you. David, will you? You will too, David. Who are you kidding?
No, I don't need more.
Oh, David's a little more, you're reserved. A little bit more, yeah.
So, I mean, I have a half-speed. I would have just bought the Underdubbed LP. I would have said, I don't really need the half-speed. I have, one of the original pressings. But since it came in a package and it was $10 more than just the single LP, I got it. But I love a new mix version on vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this slipcase is
beautiful.
Fantastic.
It's a nice slipcase. It really is.
Very nice slipcase.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. They didn't? Would they have made if they had made the Underdubbed mixes as a standalone vinyl?
Oh man.
Interesting.
I don't think they would have done that. I think they would have been.
They would have bundled it together. Yeah.
So I bought the Red Rose Speedway double recreation album. I didn't buy the archive single album with the bonus tracks. No, I wanted something unique and different. And
gotcha.
So I like I'll buy alternative stuff on vinyl. When Pepper 50 came out, they did the 2 LP, the regular Pepper, and then they did an alternative version sequence.
On the second vinyl disc, which was basically the best of all the other stuff on the CDs, right?
But they sequenced the same track length, same track in the same order. It was just an alternative version. So I dig that stuff. But me personally, I don't need too many versions of these. But everyone's different. But
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
So I think we're all generally have favorable views of the Underdubbed mix to varying degrees of success on the tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to sound like it's a fanboy and it's a perfect.
No, it's
not a
not.
perfect release.
Well,
It's
they're going
not
to call us
a perfect
fanboys
release.
anyway. We would do a weekly McCartney
right.
show. Of course, they're going to call us fanboys.
When Tom and I started, we deliberately did not try to like talk about Band on the Run a lot because we were already tired of it, And it seems to be so easy to go Band on the Run, Paul McCartney's best album, but it is one of his commercially greatest albums.
It's a crowning jewel.
It's a nice arc. It's not a concept album, but it kind of circles the beginning and end kind of tight,
Yes.
like a book. But there's no concept really. It just kind of circles back, and it's the right length of an album. And
perfect.
They're good songs.
Right.
They're well crafted songs.
It's a perfect length. Yeah, nine tracks.
44 minutes.
That's it.
44 minutes if we got Hell on Wheels. I think it's or 47 with Hell on Wheels and 44
without,
or something like that without
right.
it. Yeah.
So go ahead, David.
But these days, I would probably do Red Rose Speedway or Ram over Band on the Run.
Oh hell yeah!
But I get it's just nice to hear a new layer of this album finally out in the world, and we appreciate because it's really the same takes. It's just like there's not the overdubs or the vocals.
Now,
but
let's have an underdubbed Ram. Let's have an underdubbed Venus and Mars. Think about Venus and Mars with everything that's on that album.
Well,
right?
those will be interesting because as we learned in McCartney Legacy, he added that bass later, right? I mean, those would be some interesting underdubs right there with Ram.
It
absolutely.
would. I don't know if we're going to get those ever. This is probably just in typical McCartney fashion. This is a one-off thing.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if he continues this with Venus and Mars. If I mean, some people I think would think that's a little more produced than Band on the Run, maybe. So I mean, if there was any kind of
lots of brass,
that one,
lots of brass and stuff going on a lot of those songs.
So you're saying we'll never get an underdub version of McCartney 1? Because that's just basically just a single guitar track.
That's impossible.
That was already
That's impossible. That's impossible, David.
It was already rough mixed.
That's impossible.
That was already.
They're gonna have to do an overdub.
That's what the album should have been called, Rough Mix.
Rough Mix, yeah. McCartney Rough Mix.
Rough Mix.
Yeah, that's it's a help. We got a rough mix. I thought at the time when you held in your mouth. Yeah. Funny. So we all definitely, I think, endorse the Underdubbed mix. We're happy with it. We hope you are too. Let us know in the comments what you think of the Underdubbed mixes as a whole. Overblown, not needed. Don't say that word cash grab because if you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. Just let us know.
I mean, listen, if you don't want it, just move on with your day. That's all you got to do.
It's also free on the internet from the official sites. They all upload them to the,
David,
they upload them.
Listen to, right. Do you do Atmos, David?
Unless it's on a Blu-ray, no, I don't.
David loves his Blu-rays.
I don't subscribe to Apple, and I'm kind of pissed that that world, other than the Lennon camp, kind of is doing exclusives only.
I know.
Through that.
That is a real.
I'm not saying you can't do it in parallel, but it seems like now there's an exclusive rights. They don't want to press it to disc, So
that's annoying. Especially when the Lennon camp is doing it, and we're gonna get that with Mind Games in a few months.
It's gonna be
fantastic. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Thomas, tell us what's cooking with Talk More Talk.
Well, Andy, I'm glad you asked. But as this gets posted, we would have interviewed Gary Burr, writer, singer, Nashville artist. He's worked with Ringo, right, during those Mark Hudson years. He co-wrote tons of songs with Ringo, and we're going to talk about him, his tour, his career, working with Ringo, obviously. So that was a great booking, if you want to call it that. But obviously, again, as this is posted on Saturday, we will be at the fest, Andy and I, with my Talk More Talk co-host, doing a co-jointed panel, right?
Crossover.
Crossover. Thank you. And we're going to be talking about the best of 1974. So I'm sure that will be posted. a few days or a week, or maybe that might be the next episode. We don't know.
Maybe.
We're obviously gonna try to record with Adrian and Alan.
And we found out today that they definitely can do that, and so
Right.
we'll have a little special something recorded with Adrian and Alan as
Right.
well. So that could be another future episode as well. I do promise better audio this time around. I promise the audio people that bitch me out about the audio quality at these fests, I will do better. David, you could appreciate this as a tech guy. I'm going to just plug, I'm going to take an XLR and plug right into the guy's soundboard from my camera. That'll pick up all the mics. So
nice.
I could have done that in the past, but I didn't
Then
know
you could remix it and post audio?
Yes,
because I'm just going to go, I'll just take an XLR, put it into the camera, and then go right into his soundboard where all the mics on the stage are and get a better mix. Yeah, well, we're talking shop
all
here.
that talk goes right over my head.
We're just talking.
I was Tom's engineer, the first 3 years of this podcast. So.
David could appreciate it, so I know. I really want. Again, especially it's a special year, it's a special fest, and obviously the really good panels that we do well. The crossover show with Talk More Talk and us. I want to record. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't care if we record the collectors panel or the media panel. We've been there, done that with those.
Exactly.
We'll be there, but I really want to record ourselves, obviously, on some really good panels that will be on. And we did our schedule live on Sunday. So if you missed that, it's on our channel. Check that out. David, any thoughts you'd like to share? I know you're not doing any shows.
I'll just be texting you guys later. I'll just be what I do. Just that cousin.
Bury yourself in the.
I'm only a few miles from you, Tom. So.
What's your current earworm right now outside of say Man on the Run? What have you been listening to in the last week or two?
You really want that answer?
Sure.
I have annoyed the wife to no end from November 1st of last year to now. So my earworm's still now and then.
Okay.
So,
oh wow.
But I'm off the charts on finding different versions out there, the history of it. So that's my earworm. Yeah.
A big thank you to you for giving me that CD of all the kind of basically everything from it.
Well, I got another set of 16 tracks, but I don't know if you want to go that deep. I'm in the rabbit hole now and then. So.
I love it. I'll take it. All right. I'll take it. Now, and I have some more of those vintage Beatles films to share with you. Did you get all those?
I haven't watched them, but they're
you
nice.
You got them.
Thank you.
So that's vintage. So, wow, now and then rabbit hole. I love it.
Too deep. And my next project, I'm not trying to promote anything, just like what do I do in my life, but I need to capture the VHS recordings of all my anthologies from 95 and in between the channels 2 or 7 small segments about the Beatles. Now, and I need to digitize that.
Do you have a way to do that or not?
I do through a software program. I used to have a real old school VHS to DVD record. Failed on me, so I have software. So I'm now going to line into my computer and then
from your
digitize
it and digitize it. Yeah, you need basically a capture card to pick up that stuff to do it.
So and then I'll upload it to you guys. But there are certain scenes in the anthology that was broadcasted. I don't think it even made it to the DVD version in 2003. So there's small snippets, but
some of the best things about those, and I'm sure you have these on your tapes, are the commercials that ABC would run to promote the anthology, like with the Day in the Life orchestration, ABC Beatles, and it was like new Beatles song, boom, and you were like,
I have those on like bootleg DVDs. I always press the pause button between commercials during the broadcast, and it might have been too slow to capture during the week those commercials.
Right.
Yeah, but then there's a really good documentary that the local WXYZ did with Walter Everett between I think episode 1 and 2. He's got a mustache and he looks totally different. It's 28 years ago, 29 now, and so when I saw him at the symposium, like, hey, I remember you. So he was appreciative of that comment. But
awesome. Well, that's gonna do it for 237. As for me, I'll be there with Tom. Come find us at the fest. Say hello. Let's have a drink. We'll talk. Super Bowl. I'm staying to watch. Tom, I don't know if you want to watch it, but I'm gonna be watching it.
I'll pop in and see what the score is.
I know.
See if Mahomes lost any teeth or anything like that throughout the game.
But that will do it for episode 237. For Tom, for David, I'm Andy Nichols. This has been Two Legs, and have a great weekend. Stay safe. See you next time.
Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan C.